Well, I am live again. So, welcome to Sunday Astrology Live, where any mistake I made can be seen. Where if I just start to get nude here, although it's very scary, you don't want to see nothing special there, but let it happen. It's live, of course. So, what do we have in my agenda today? For some reason, YouTube, what's up with you? Seriously, you keep changing all the settings. It took me, I should have been on live like maybe 10 minutes ago. They changed the settings. Now I can't even see myself where, it shows that my video is live and I'm moving. I can see myself, I'm not seeing that. I'm just winging it. Although I see the comments, so I'm pretty sure I'm working, but come on, man. Come on, dog. So, what's happening? Couple of agendas here. I always have agendas, so you can't have me without an agenda. So, the very first thing that a lot of people were asking about my questionnaires on my Nakshatra consultation, that's on my website, option 17, where I ask 4 questions to people. Like, do you really want to know this? I forgot what my questions are. I'm getting old, here. So I need to I ask you, do you want to know the absolute negative trends of yourself, spouse, children, family? Are you okay if you find out your spouse, girlfriend may have tendency to, cheat and all that? And then I said, okay, I cannot be blamed for, any problem that happens. Like you can be getting a reading from me and then going to your spouse. You cheat on me. And then it creates a problem in your thing, And then I say, even if you say yes, I may not tell you everything. And also I say that if you're under 28, most likely you got to understand certain things that you may not even resonate with the reading. Because the thing is, a lot of astrologers, okay, they will tell you things right out. They'll be looking at your chart. They'll tell you everything. And sure, they'll be like 100% accurate sometimes, 90% accurate. But the thing is, it is a very small step of an astrologer with all the karmic rules and the karmic pattern that lays beyond. Because the very first thing is you can't impact somebody negatively, where for life they're like thinking things, okay? So this is why I always make sure that you know exactly what you're getting. And then, even then I say, look, I'm going to look at your moon. I'm going to see how your moon is. If you may be just excited to get it, but if your moon, is not strong enough, I may not give you everything that you want. And this is for your own benefit. You see, I'm the only person that would have, the way I list my readings on my website, I'm probably the only person that looks at all these scenarios because I have been there in your footsteps. I have been there where surprisingly, the astrologer will give you your longevity, where surprisingly he'll give you all sorts of your diseases and this and that. I'm like, I didn't come here to ask you for that. I came here to ask you for my career or my relationship right now. So I've been there, and this is comes under strict, ethical rules. It's not like a law or anything. It's just moral, ethical rules where you have to take in consideration of what you're saying, what you're spelling to the person. Will that affect them? Like it's the magic, right? Your words are spells. And if you spell something and you affect somebody, that's on you. This is why I make sure that, are you clear in this? Think deep before you go for that. And even then, I take the liberty of looking at the moon. I'm like, okay, if the moon is able to handle certain information, I'll give you. So that's my whole agenda, because everybody was like, what's with these questions? Well, it's right there. What's with these questions? I don't want to There's no way I want to do a reading unless if I know it's going to impact you psychologically. That's why I don't do full readings. You know, I can like obviously if I did full readings, I'll probably do like a 3-4 hour full reading. And I don't think anybody can afford that because I will be going so deep into everything that I will not do in 1 hour. A full reading cannot be done in 1 hour. I will probably do it in like 3-4 hours, you know. So that's that. So I hope like, and especially the reason why I said 28, like only people over 28 should get it, because some of the like the moon nakshatra, ascendant nakshatra, the karmas, you know, like if somebody told you at 20 or 18, well, your moon nakshatra is Uttar Bhadrapada, and they explain to you what Uttar Bhadrapada is, they're like, God, nothing of that sort occurs in my life. Because see, the fourth house from any house is the storage of that karma. So storage of the ascendant nakshatra is what? The fourth house. Storage of moon nakshatra, which is like your previous hard drive of past lives, is what? Fourth from the moon. So wherever your moon is, if your moon is in the 8th house, the 11th house becomes, you know, the what do you call, the storage of the karmas. So you could be experiencing your karma at the age of, you know, 11, or you could experience them at the age of 23. This is why it's much, because if somebody told me some of my nakshatra, the reason why I said this, because when I took these lessons from Dr. Arjun Pai, and he was like, boom, 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 everything. But if he would have given me this reading when I was maybe, let's say 20, 21, 19, 22, 23, I would have been like, nah, that's not me. I'm not really resonating with it, but yeah, okay, maybe we'll see, it happens in the future. So you see what happens, you get discouraged because you feel like it should be right there, and it's not, because you have barely lived your life. You barely became an adult. You haven't even hit your Saturn return, and you're trying to find out how the nakshatra is going to play themselves out. It doesn't work that way. Nakshatras, most definitely, and we tested this. I know Satip tested it in many charts. Togi Aditya tested this. Fourth from it will definitely become active at 28, and fourth from the moon. So this is why it's imperative. And certain nakshatra become active at like 30, 32, 33, 35. So this is why I am, you know, very, very adamant about letting you guys know what exactly this is and that you're getting into, you know. So that's that. And the second thing on my agenda is the eclipse of August 21st. This is a big one actually. I've never actually done eclipse videos, but this is actually happening right over United States, okay? And especially what happens is, we just had a full moon of Guru Purnima. That full moon, all the way till the next eclipse, becomes this period where people can make stupid decisions. People can make hasty decisions, like making decisions like, you know, I want to leave my relationship. I want to leave my job. I want to become a celibate person. Because this is a period where, especially in the umbrella where it's happening over US, and the reason I'm doing it is because I never do eclipse videos. For me, I'm like, eclipse come and go. But then a lot of the information that I'm getting from people now, the things that they're suddenly going through, you know, I'm like, why is it that it's happening? You know, since Guru Purnima all the way till eclipse, the full moon to the eclipse is this period where our senses are kind of like going haywire. There's like chaos happening within the mind, wherever the mind is. We think that mind is up here, but actually I think the mind is all over the place. All over the body is the mind, or the heart is the mind. Wherever the mind is, however that we think, you know, it's being shaken up like the earthquake, and it's being, that eclipse energy is like slowly coming over. So one thing definitely you should do is that don't just stay put. Don't make stupid decisions. Don't make hasty decisions. because remember, eclipse is about transformation. Eclipse is about changes. Eclipse can end and restart something, end and start something new. But especially, eclipse is something that may not be the most great, may not be the greatest thing for an individual. And now that I'm seeing this evidence, especially from my Facebook comments, YouTube video comments, like, oh my God, I need help. Like, I'm getting so many emergencies help in the past 6-7 days. I'm like, what in the world's going on? And so when I looked deep into it, and I was telling my wife that, I'm like, it's funny. Why is it that everybody just wants the emergency reading about relationships? Why does everybody want an emergency reading about their parents' health or their this and that? And my wife's like, didn't this full moon happen and then the eclipse is gonna happen? I'm like, oh my God, that's right. It's like my wife actually knew the period between full moon and eclipse is always this one period where things happen quite chaotically, but specifically, and this is where I notice it's nothing to do with like India or anybody. It's people in US that are like somehow going through sudden like chaos in their mind. So, and I was talking to my wife, and I was like, you know what, you need to make a video on this. I need to let your followers know as to what's going on. So, if you are suddenly trying to make a decision, like I have had people who said, I want to leave my house, like right now. I want to like, we want to move to an apartment. We don't like this place. We don't like the energy. And if you look at their situation, they're in that situation where they're on a thin line financially, trying to move from one place to the other, but they just want to make this hasty decision. And I'm like, after talking to my wife, then last night I emailed this person. I'm like, look, stop it. Don't make this decision until after like August. Once September comes in, that's when you think, do you really want to do this? Do you really want to move from this place just because you feel like the energy is not great and things are not going well and you suddenly want to move to an apartment? It's like sudden things people are taking very sudden actions, very sporadic actions. And this is going to build up. This is going to be built up. But what happens is, okay, when you are aware of something, when you are aware of the fact that, okay, this energy that is about to come and is coming right over my zone, that United States, okay, I'm now aware of it and I don't want it to affect me. So what happens is, once you're aware of something, this is why they say in spirituality, awareness, right? Living in now. And that's where nothing will affect you. What happens is, when you become aware of something, automatically, whether it's your aura, your oja, something starts helping you. You can even call it your spiritual guides. They start helping you to redirect that energy in a much more calmer way. And this is why I felt compelled to make this video, that once people are aware of all the hasty decisions that they will make, they'll be like, okay, I understand. Now I know that all these thoughts that I'm thinking, I mean, believe it or not, I've had people, coming up with suicidal thoughts. So all of these things will happen because of this transition. And it's funny how my wife knows it more than me, because my wife has been on, she's been into full moons and this and that. So she's like, they say like transition, because she has friends who are psychics. She has friends who are, not astrologers, but other type of metaphysical line of work. And that through them, she finds out, like, especially she's, what is it? Celtic? Yeah, Celtic, like, Celtic magicians is like a Celtic rituals they do on full moon. So they know that whenever a full moon happens and then right after that an eclipse is happening, especially over your zone, things will happen. Mystical things will happen. And especially this eclipse is happening over Leo and Aquarius sign. Okay? And this is where definitely Leo represents the governing bodies, government. Leo represents the royal, regal throne, regalness. And on mundane, it represents pretty much everything to do with the governing bodies and our creative self-expression, our expression to have fun and enjoy life. Somehow, this eclipse, which is building up, can somehow put a black drop in your fun and retreats. So I want to look into it more, what she was saying about, this transition period. But then I believe her because, not because she's my wife, because I'm seeing the evidence. I am just seeing, like, just in my work email, I'm seeing a lot of help 911 emergency, couple, I need your help. Like people are simply going like bananas up here. The thing is, though, once you're aware of this fact now, you will be able to come out of it. You will be able to understand that, okay, these energies are right now affecting me. I'm going to be eccentric. I'm going to be erratic, sporadic. I need to calm down. Because when you know what causes something, it's like somebody's hypnotizing you. And you don't know what's going on. You don't know why you're talking like a chicken and walking like a chicken every morning. But when you realize somebody is hypnotizing you, now you're able to like control that. Okay, I'm not going to speak like a chicken. I'm not going to speak like a chicken. I'm not going to walk like a chicken. Okay? Like you could be crocking 4 a.m. in the morning, waking your wife up like, what the hell's wrong with you? But you could be hypnotized. But once you're aware of that fact, you're like, okay, I got to do something about it. So that's what it is. Okay? So it's important that you don't try to insult somebody. You don't try to be rude to somebody. You don't try to end your relationship with your girlfriend or boyfriend or this and that, especially for the people in US. So this way, at least, you're able to understand things. So I don't know if, are any of you people feeling this way? Like, especially in US, not in India. Because it's not, see, when eclipse happen over a country or a zone, that's where, like, over the longitude, that's where it really affects. But the other countries, yeah, whatever, they come and go. I mean, you know how many eclipses I've gone through in my life? And no subtle, like, it's funny how I watch some of these monthly horoscopes and whatnot, and they're like, every freaking eclipse that comes, it's like a big change and transition and transformation. Like every month, it's funny. Every monthly horoscope, some of these horoscopes that I watch, they're like, oh, this grand trine is happening and everything is gonna change. I'm like, last month you said the same thing. The month before that you said the same thing. When is this change? Is there gonna be a monthly horoscope where things are just like calm and nothing? Nope. Every single time it's like Pluto is squaring Uranus and shit's gonna go haywire. I'm like, man, come on, man. Come on. It's like a grand presentation. So that's that. Then the Jupiter transit. Like what happens when, this Jupiter will come into the sign of Libra and go over planets like Sun, Moon, Saturn, Mars, Mercury, Venus, Rahu, Ketu. So the very first thing you want to understand, it's very simple, that what is Jupiter's Kark Avastha? Not what Jupiter rules in your chart. Forget what it rules. Forget the fact it's ruling your first house and fourth house. Forget it's ruling your third house and sixth house. What is Jupiter representing in terms of classical knowledge, classical literature? It represents expansion, growth, wisdom, prosperity. Okay? Jupiter is this balloon of optimism. Like, this is why Saturn does not like to be with Jupiter. Because Saturn is like, look, we have $10 in our bank account. We gotta use $1 to buy bread, $1 to buy bean, $1 to buy coal, and leave the rest till our next paycheck comes. Jupiter is like, No, you gotta think rich. You gotta go buy that $10 bean package, not a $1 one. That's how you grow. We are already rich, man. Let's do this. Let's think big. And Saturn is like sitting there like, dude, I don't know what I did in my past life as my karmas that I have to be with you. So remember, Jupiter is this balloon of hype, balloon of hope. Not hype. See, balloon of hype is more like Rahu. Balloon of hope is Jupiter. So regardless of what planet is transit over, it's going to bring this sense of hope. It's going to bring this sense of expansion and growth. That's the very first thing you have to know about Jupiter. Regardless of how good or bad it is, it'll always bring that. Even in its debilitation, if it goes over your Saturn, if it goes over a certain planet in Capricorn, it'll naturally do that. That's what it's meant to do. Remember, Jupiter and every planet is blind. When they come over a sign, they're not judging you like, oh yeah, I hate you. I remember you from past life. I didn't like you, so now I'm going to do this to you. They don't think like that. So whenever Jupiter likes to go over Sun, it'll be that expansion and hope of your ego. You'll just feel very confident. You'll be like, wow, I'm the worst ugly looking person, but you know what? I feel good. I feel good. I can go out there and conquer things. It can be a growth of your self-image. Over your moon, a great amount of optimism will come. Hope will come. So if you're down and depressed, it'll bring that hope and optimism upon your mind. Like your mind will feel more optimistic about doing things. Let's say if your moon is in certain nakshatra, it'll be looking at a glass as half empty always. But when Jupiter comes in for that, 1 year over your birth moon, you'll start looking at things that like, oh, the glass is half full, not half empty. Same thing you can look with Venus. Venus will be the expansion of love. Like if you had no hope of love, no hope of relationship, there'll suddenly be hope. And usually what happens is whenever Jupiter transits over Venus, regardless of what Mahadasha, Antradasha you're going through, regardless of, what Charadasha you might be going through, there's this sudden needingness to wanting to be in a relationship. So you may even go out with people when Jupiter transits over your Venus. You may not get married, you may not be in some long-term settled relationship, but you'll feel this hopefulness that, you know what, I think I want to give people out there a chance. I want to go out there and expand. So your love will expand. It may not just be love for romance or partnership. It'll be love for anything, love for your family members, love for your pets. And your choices will become much more optimistic because Venus is the things that we choose. Like I want to get that person. I want to marry that person, or I want that person, right? Our wants are not moon. Our wants are not moon. Our wants are Venus. I want that nice watch. My God, it's too expensive, but I want it. Who does that? It's Venus, the princess. So our neediness. So now we gotta find more optimism in terms of what we need, and we are able to somehow get it. Maybe not the whole thing, but a partial thing. There's a sense of expansion and wisdom that comes in your marriage or relationship. Mercury, sudden interest. Like if Jupiter transit over your Mercury, suddenly you want to collect books, read books, expand your wisdom, expand your knowledge. Suddenly you will be inspired to go back to school, or extend your knowledge. Or let's say you have graduated, gotten your MBA, now you're like, you know what, I do want to get that certificate course. I do want to expand whatever my knowledge base is, my intelligence is. So you may either go for some small certification course, or you may actually, attain some actual degree, like sudden interest towards post-grad degree. And especially if your Maha and Antradashas, Charadashas are helping, your D24 chart is helping, you will then definitely go and try to attain that higher education. Your communication will become much more soft and full of wisdom. If Jupiter goes over Mars, your actions will be much more optimistic, and you'll be much more prone to taking actions. So let's say for the past 2 years, you're just like sitting. I don't want to do this. I don't want to work. I'm just feeling depressed. I don't want to go and exercise. Jupiter transiting over your Mars, suddenly you're going to want to join a gym, work on your body, become competitive, take on those challenges that you have been ignoring for the past 2 years, 1 year, or however long. So Jupiter gives this expansion of energy to Mars. It's like, see, that look at Jupiter as like a battery. Whenever a planet is dead and Jupiter goes over, it's like charges that planet. More than even sun, it charges it, because in order for you to feel charged, you have to feel happy and optimistic. This is why all the very first thing they say about Jupiter is bring happiness, prosperity, pregnancy, celebrations. So it's like you celebrate that planet. When Jupiter transit over any planet, you celebrate that planet. So Mars is about celebrating your energy, your athleticism, your ability to go out and fight the battles and win the battles. Then you come across, Sun or Saturn. Saturn is this like, just like a serious planet, like, hey, I hate life. Get out of here, kids. Like you show up to Saturn's house for Halloween candy, it's like, get off my porch now. Well, when Jupiter goes over Saturn, you feel more disciplined. You feel more optimistic towards being disciplined, towards becoming more happy, towards your performing your karmas, performing your duties. See, Saturn represents discipline, structure, organization, duty, commitment, sacrifices. And we don't like doing those things. That's why Saturn is not so loved in the Vedic astrological world or even the Western world. But the thing is, then you realize that if you're happy sacrificing towards something, if you're happy giving your duty towards something, if you're happy to make a commitment in a relationship, in a work, in your diet, you want to lose 20 pounds, okay, make that commitment. All these things become much more easy to deal with. You feel more optimistic about, what, I'm happy I'm sacrificing my money on behalf of my children and their education. I'm happy to wear a cheap clothes and t-shirt and shoes so I can pay for my daughter's education or my son's education. Before, you'll be like, oh man, all this money is going to go out. Where am I going to get this money? What if their education doesn't go? When Jupiter transit over Saturn, you'll be like, you know what? Things will work out. God is looking over me. Things will work out. This is how we look at, when Jupiter transit, like Rahu. When Jupiter transit over Rahu, it's like whatever your illusions are, you start to believe in your illusions. So let's say you want to be a movie star and Rahu is upon your 10th house. Okay? And let's say like Rahu's in your 10th house in Leo. And Jupiter's went over it last year. You'll be like, you know what? I was just about to give up on my dreams to becoming a great movie star. No, I know I can do this. You know what? I was only going for like maybe 10 auditions a month. You know what? I think I need to go for like 40 auditions, 50 auditions a month. Maybe then I'll get it. And your illusions just find this hope. So in a way, it's a good or bad. Like, this can bring optimism through addiction. Like, let's say you're addicted to marijuana. Jupiter comes in. You're like, you know what? I didn't realize this, but marijuana actually helps me feel good. I feel more intelligent. I can think things. You know what? Maybe I should just increase my dose. So Rahu kind of becomes that part. Rahu is like that only planet where the bad things will start to look good with Jupiter going over Rahu. Jupiter does not get rid of the illusion. Jupiter just makes you feel happy about the illusions that you have created in your head. Remember, Jupiter is blind. It doesn't care if this is Rahu sitting here, if this is Ketu sitting here. Now, especially if Jupiter goes over your Ketu, most definitely expansion of spiritual awareness will be awakened in your life. I don't care if you're a thug, murderer, gangster, you're a terrorist, you're a politician, or you're just a normal human being. When Jupiter goes over your Ketu, there will be sudden spiritual realization, whether you share with somebody or not. You will look at your life and the world around you as something beyond this physical plane. And especially if Jupiter is going over your Ketu, is an excellent period to join some spiritual organization, to start some spiritual practice, go for Kriya Yoga, or especially find a guru. Like if a guru comes in with Ketu, with Jupiter going over Ketu, there's a past life connection between you and the guru you just met. You were meant to meet them. It'll be interesting. I want to see if Jupiter was going over Yogananda's Ketu when he met his guru Sri Yukteswar. It'll be interesting. So I don't know if you guys can probably look at it right now. I'll probably look at it later. But that's what Jupiter does now. You probably want to know, what if Jupiter is going over your Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto? See, as much as I have learned so much about Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, it's still not synced in me. It's like me starting from point zero with these outer planets. I mean, I don't want to give any educational knowledge here. Well, Jupiter's going to do this if it goes over Neptune or Uranus or Pluto, because I don't. I honestly don't. Even though I brought Dennis Harness, I brought Ernest to talk about that. I think I brought Ryan to talk about it. It's just I just don't. I'm still not aware of these planetary energies. I can't, like, if you told me, like, okay, Neptune is in 8th house, what is it doing in this person's house? I'll be like, I'll have to like make up some things. This is why even I don't use them in my reading right now, because I'm not, it's like my aura is not being familiarized with these 3 planets, or is not attracted to these 3 planets for some reason. Maybe it's not the time for me to understand these planets. That's what it is. Maybe I'll learn it in 3 years with somebody I'll come across who'll just make sense like that. So everything has happened on time. It's not, remember, we're just string puppets. I mean, especially Nakshatra. Once you know Nakshatra, once you know some of the things that I've learned in Nakshatra in last week, here's the thing about Nakshatra. Okay, whenever I think about that, I'm just like, Nakshatra help you progress spiritually. Not the zodiac signs, not even the planets, not learning the yogas, not learning Bhagavad Gita, the Vedas. You want to progress spiritually? Learn Nakshatras. This is why just last week I realized that astrology, especially astrology reading, it's all Nakshatras. All Nakshatras. Like, I went back in my database of people who were, let's say, in IT field, lawyer field, entertainment field, this field. And then when you start looking at the patterns of the Nakshatras, you're like, it's like I was going, you feel like you're going to go such a long way to reach a certain point in a chart where understanding a nakshatra will give you a whole lot. So this is why learn nakshatras. And the best way to learn is the Pi team. Dr. Arjun Pai, Sateep, Togi Aditya, Bharat Ram, and of course Eve Mendoza. I mean, this is like the Fab Five. I call them the Fab Five. I mean, if you want to learn nakshatras, learn from them, and you will never look at astrology the same way again. Like, you can just depict everything. And especially you will understand, another thing that you will understand is that the Mahadasha that you're going through Saturn Dasha, Jupiter Dasha, Venus Dasha, the nakshatra that they're placed in, you will start playing that story out in your life. This is why, and I'm enjoying, this is the first time I'm saying this. I think I might have said this for the other things, but first time I'm really saying this with my heart. I'm enjoying my nakshatra readings that I'm doing. It's like, I love it. When I see a chart and I'm like, oh, I'm going to do a nakshatra reading, it just, something comes out inside of me. I'm like, my God, I'm going to learn now more. Nakshatra reading is like my my one of my favorite readings, because it just, you feel it from the heart. When Dr. Pi gave me these 3-day lesson one-on-one, that's where I'm just like, the only reading I really want to do, honestly, is just nakshatra reading. That is the only thing, that is my only jam right now. But of course, people want help with their relationships, they want help with their career and the dasha period, and that's sure. But man, for me, it's the nakshatra. I just bought 6 books, thick books on nakshatras. I just want to read about them. I just want to know about them, because I realized just in my own, why do I feel this way? Just because it didn't resonate with me, and just because I'm seeing through other people. No, I saw it in my own life. The things that Dr. Pai depicted, it's like he just, internally when he was telling me about each nakshatra, in my mind I'm like, man, he's just ripping me apart. He just knows me like a book. Like, this is who you are. And once I started seeing people's chart, it's like you just know who this person is. But one thing you always have to understand, if you are an astrologer and if you want to become an astrologer, very, very important, number one rule of doing nakshatra reading, do not judge a person as a human. Don't internally judge this person. Oh, you are this and you are that, and you manipulate things and you do that. No, this is, they have to play the story out. We're all string puppets. I'm playing my story out. And part of my stories, which I realized through Dr. Arjun Pai, is to show you your story as an astrologer. I mean, it was scary how each nakshatra that he pointed out had something to do with becoming an astrologer and being an astrologer. I'm like, oh my God. Every single nakshatra. And then there are nakshatras that have nothing to do with astrology. But then there are all of them. And I'm like, my God, I got all of them. And so it shows you, like, why am I playing this story out? Why am I not out there selling real estate where I can make gazillions? I mean, right now, the way the market is, real estate market, and the way I see my friend making money in California, I'm like, damn. But that's not my story. My story, I cannot play that story. That string, that timing of the string is gone. Now I have to play this new puppet story so that's all you're doing. Whatever happens to you, hourly basis, daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, yearly basis, decade basis, it's all nakshatras and nothing else. Not even transits. It's all nakshatra. But transit is that climax, that triggering point of that storyline. But mainly it's that nakshatra. And especially if you know Padham Chakra, you know, where you just read a chart without transit, without dashas, then you don't even need that. Because now you know where exactly. Remember I was telling you about the storage. Fourth from any planet is the storage of that nakshatra. They'll play out. They have played out. They have played out. Just last year I was seeing, I'm like, my God, that played out. Yes. This is why I'm saying nakshatra, nakshatra, nakshatra. Learn. They're having lessons. Bharat Ram came yesterday. Told you guys that they're having lessons in 12 hours. Learn. Pi team is doing lessons all the time. Learn. Once you learn that, you'll be awakened spiritually. Because here's the thing, and I made this Facebook video last week when I was really just lightning struck with nakshatras. I'm like, I no longer see people as humans anymore. Like when I see a person's detail in my email and I'm opening their chart and I'm like, oh, I'm going to do a reading for a person. I no longer see that anymore, especially with the nakshatra reading. With nakshatra reading, I see that I'm just doing a reading for a nakshatra devta. That's it. It's like, let's say, Rudra. Let's say Rudra is in front of me and I have to do a reading for Rudra. Rudra is up in some other loka, but different version of Rudra is on this planet. Mitra is on this planet. Vishnu is on this planet. Aribhanyu is on this planet. And they're just coming to you. They just want to know. So I no longer look at people as like human form. I look at this nakshatra storyline. I look at them as a script. That's it. I feel like I'm just reading, I'm looking at a script and I have to read them their script. That's what I'm telling you. If you want to understand life spiritually and progress, if you, let's say, I'm not spiritual at all, but I want to become spiritual, how do I do it? No, don't go read Bhagavad Gita or something. First learn Nakshatras, then read Bhagavad Gita. You will be on a different plane. Believe me when I tell you this. Believe me on the tell you. Forget when you're going to get a job, when you're going to get married, all these things. Forget it. Forget it. You are Nakshatra. Learn that first about yourself. You are that Nakshatra. This is 100%, I can guarantee. I wish I could like stamp it, sign it, and put it on my website. You are nothing but Nakshatra. I might do that actually. That's a great idea, just to show how strong these things are. So anyway, enough of my chattering. So what's going on? You have Mars in Purva Falguni, Venus in Magha, both in Leo, 8th house and less than 10 degrees. Man, you are first of all very highly sexual. But at the same time, that sexuality will turn into spirituality. Especially with Purva Falguni Nakshatra, which is the most highest sexual nakshatra, you will turn into a very spiritual person. But naturally, there's this tendency towards wanting to, manage events. You always have this tendency to like manage great events. Like if somebody had to throw a party, they'll go to you for advice, and you have this tendency to do that. With Venus, Mars, most definitely one will have either many or even with one partner, very, very deep, sensual, sexual experiences. You have Pluto and Uranus? What does that mean? You got Pluto in your Uranus. Okay. Sun, Moon, Venus, all exalted in Aries. Well, that could be a great thing. And I can say, well, this is causing a great yoga for somebody who'll be a great leader and take a leadership role, somebody who'll be confident, somebody who'll, do very well expressively, creatively, but that doesn't mean nothing. Zodiac sign means nothing, zero. Zodiac sign only means something when you look at the degrees. And not even just the nakshatra. If I was to see this conjunction, we have to see that pada and how this planet lands in Navamsha. What if your Venus is debilitated in Navamsha, Sun is debilitated in Navamsha, Moon is in Scorpio Navamsha? Then how am I going to read this? Obviously, it's not going to be bad. It's just that whatever you're doing with Venus, Sun, and Moon in the ascendant, it's going to have a really deep, practical meaning which will help you with your ego. You're going to need help of your partner with the ego. So let's say your Sun is debilitated, okay, in Navamsha. You're going to need your spouse to uplift your ego with this conjunction. So after marriage, your ego will uplift. And obviously based on nakshatra, I mean, you can just go deep, 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 deep. So Uranus, Venus, man, this is going too quick. Well, Sun, Scorpio ascendant, Mars in 10th house. Well, Mars is in the 10th house in Leo. And what this shows, first of all, naturally a person is very much attracted to like be in police force, government related position, or dealing in logic, statistics. Mars naturally makes you extremely confident about defeating your enemies. But also, Mars can give you a great dynamic self-expression for the arts. But because Mars is ruling the 6th house with its Mool Trikon sign, Mars will give excellent results when you deal with the government or any kind of, like, let's say, a sport. You're a sportsman. Your whole job is to defeat enemies. Like for you, your karmas is all about competition. Without competition, you don't feel happy. Like you could be a biggest company out there, but if you're not in competition, you just won't feel good about running that company. You need somebody, you need an opponent in front of you for that to be energized. Then we got Mercury in the 4th house for Cancer ascendant. So Mercury in the 4th house for Cancer ascendant obviously is in Libra and Vishaka Nakshatra, which shows that your sibling will definitely have like a split personality. Naturally, they'll be attracted towards fire rituals. They'll be greatly attracted towards wanting to go into brewery business, or they'll love alcohol, drinking alcohol. This is also the nakshatra where you want to compartmentalize things. You want to take information because Mercury rules the 3rd house. You want to take information and you want to section it, compartmentalize it, and you will have definitely 3 or more properties in your life, especially depending upon how Jupiter is, the nakshatra lord in the Navamsha. Oh shoot. Okay. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you. I'm going to do live randomly now. I'm not gonna do live every Sunday because my daughter's lessons are gonna start. Swimming lessons and some other lessons are starting on Sunday during this time, so I'm gonna have to take her, and I have to take her, my other daughter, to her other lessons. See, that's what my life is now. I have to now, because one is attending this lesson, that lesson. So Sunday is going to be very busy for me. So I'm not going to be doing it. I'm just going to come out live randomly. Okay. So Moon in the 5th house in Purva Ashada Nakshatra. See, I don't have my notes right now for nakshatras. It's in my other laptop. But Purva Shada most definitely is a very creative nakshatra. And very artistic. Naturally, there's tendency to declare war on people with Purva Shada nakshatra. And definitely, regardless of where the moon is, you may have like teeth or dental issues for sure. And I could have given you the age if I knew the house that the moon was in. It also shows there's natural tendency to drink a lot of tea or coffee throughout the day, from what I can remember. Yeah, I've got to see. I'm still not memorized on that, on these nakshatra as well. But anyway, guys, I have to run now because at noon I have to take my daughter for her first swimming lessons. Bye bye.